Ladies and gentlemen, this is TVP World. You're watching another edition of Break the Fake, where we debunk fake news and combat false narrative. I'm your host, Benjamin Lee, and let's get rolling. Russia launched over 440 drones and 32 missiles on Ukraine in one of the biggest attacks since the full-scale invasion began. Kyiv got hit hard. An entire apartment block entrance was obliterated. 8 districts were struck, with over 15 dead and over 100 wounded in the aftermath. And right on cue, Kremlin propaganda rolled out its greatest hit. Ukraine did it! Yeah, apparently in the Kremlin's vision of events, Ukraine is just out there blowing up its own neighborhoods for fun. Because, defending yourself when you're being attacked, well, that's clearly the real crime here. This is the Kremlin's Disinformation Playbook 101. They launch missiles, kill civilians, and then rush a telegram to blame the very people under attack. At this point, it's also worth recalling a chilling precedent: the infamous apartment bombings in Russia back in 1999. The Kremlin also quickly pinned the blame on Chechen militants, but to this day, no credible evidence has ever been presented. Now, many still believe that those attacks conveniently rallied public support for a new war and helped launch Vladimir Putin's race to power. Again, this isn't new. Every time Russia targets civilians, schools, hospitals, homes, they claim that it was an accident, a Ukrainian missile, or Western interference. Next, they'll blame the structural integrity of the buildings for getting in the way. Now, let's be clear. Russia isn't just committing war crimes. They're laundering them through propaganda. It's a two-front war, one with bombs, the other with lies. And both are aimed straight at civilians. Ukraine didn't bomb its own cities, Russia did. And you need a fake story to explain your special military operation. Maybe it's not that special, just criminal. Russia says that in its war in Ukraine, it's taking back its own land. But with every new announcement, it looks less like a liberation and more like a labor import scheme. While the Russian army keeps grinding through bodies in Ukraine, the Kremlin's quietly outsourcing the war. Case in point, during a recent trip to North Korea, Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu proudly announced that Pyongyang will send 1,000 combat engineers to clear mines in the Kursk region and 5,000 more construction workers to rebuild infrastructure. That's right, Russia's war effort is now proudly made in North Korea.
После освобождения территории Курской области там огромное количество заминированных территорий, других взрывоопасных предметов. Это сотни гектар, это сотни километров разрушенных линий электропередач, дорог, коммуникаций, населенных пунктов, домов. И здесь, конечно, по запросу нашей стороны, корейская сторона предоставляет 1000 саперов, которые будут заниматься разминированием Курской области. Мы об этом, о деталях сейчас заканчиваем обсуждать детали. И думаю, что в ближайшее время эта работа начнется. Сначала подготовка, оснащение, ну и, естественно, дальше практическая работа. Иначе восстановительная работа начать довольно сложно без разминированной территории. Ну и вторая часть – это дивизия строителей, Это 2 бригады, 5000 человек, объединенные в одну дивизию. Военных строителей, которые будут заниматься восстановлением Курской области.
Now, these specialists are being brought in to handle rear tasks, demining buildings, roads, managing logistics, this kind of work that the Russian army used to handle back when it still had the manpower to spare. But after years of losses, prison drafts, and human wave tactics, Russia's running low on Russians. Yet, the Kremlin still talks about taking back Russia, really, because the boots on the ground are looking a lot more important than patriotic. Now, this isn't national liberation, it's international outsourcing. What's next? Cuban tank crews, Vietnamese engineers, a Brazilian battalion, a parade formation? The further Russia pushes this war, the fewer Russians seem to be doing the pushing. Now, if your great Russian world must be built by guest workers, is it even an empire, or is it just another facade? While Ukrainian drones continue turning Russian tanks into modern art installations, Vladimir Putin sat down for a cozy meeting with Rostec CEO Sergei Chemezov. On the agenda, figuring out how to improve the same military gear that's currently lighting up like fireworks in Donetsk, falling apart in Belgorod, and just for fun, exploding during test runs before it even reaches the front.
Мы постоянно работаем над тем, чтобы совершенствовать нашу технику, которую мы выпускаем. У нас прямой контакт с военнослужащими, которые используют, которые работают с нашей техникой. У нас там находятся рядом с передовой наши ремонтные бригады, поэтому они имеют прямой контакт. И все пожелания, там, замечания мы, конечно, учитываем, и поэтому техника наша постоянно проводится ее модернизация.
Now, Chemezov claimed that we take into account all the wishes and comments. Translation? Reading the feedback from drone footage and flaming tank husks. He also proudly announced that 80% of the weapons used in Russia's war on Ukraine come from Rostec. And, well, that kind of tracks, because those are the same weapons that jam, miss, self-destruct before they do anything useful. So yeah, 80% from Rostec equals 100% failure on impact. Meanwhile, as Chemezov keep talking of progress, Ukrainian drones have casually wiped out another Russian air defense system. Now, no speeches, no ceremony, just another reminder that reality doesn't quite care about Rostec's talking points. In the temporarily occupied city of Skadovsk, Russian-installed officials decided to celebrate Russia Day by handing out gifts. Harmless enough until you hear what the gift was and who it was for. So, Alexander Dudka, head of the so-called Skadovsk district, proudly presented a microwave oven to a father of a Russian soldier killed in the war.
Спасибо за сына, за то, что вы воспитали такого человека. И поэтому возьмите от администрации, от предпринимателя, от Юрьевича. Это, во-первых, мой советник главы администрации. Во-вторых, это предприниматель и инвестор. Он просто патриот своего города. И очень болезненно то воспринимаете такие вещи все. Поэтому это подарок от всех нас, вас, как отцу погибшего бойца. Спасибо за сына. Если чем-то администрация сможет вас поддержать в любое время, приходите. Я знаю, Денис Михайлович, он на контакте здесь со всеми. Вот поверьте, любая информация передана через него, дойдет ко мне. Спасибо. Еще раз, с наступающим вас праздником, Днем Российской Федерации. И еще раз спасибо за сына. Всем.
What are you even supposed to say to that? Sorry your son died in a senseless invasion, but here's a kitchen appliance to ease the pain? This is where we are now. Even Russia's infamous Lada for a body bag campaign seems to be downgraded. Maybe because their auto industry is collapsing, or maybe because there are just too many dead and not enough cars to go around. Either way, the message is the same. Your kid's life is worth, well, about a discount microwave. See, Russia can hand out all the appliances at once. What this really shows is how hollow the whole system has become. A dead soldier's life reduced to a microwave isn't just offensive, it's revealing. Now, this is a government that treats grief like a PR opportunity and loss like a line item. Putin's so-called vision isn't unraveling quietly, it's collapsing in full view, while his officials smile and take photos with kitchenware. And with that, we conclude this edition of Break the Fake. But for more news, update, and commentary, please stay tuned to TVP World.